Mesut, we're here on the roof of New York and you've started a company, growthstart. What is it?
Well, entrepreneurs, executives, managers who are really successful have a lot in common. And if you go on the internet, you can find a lot of these attributes, and there's like great playbooks and amazing cases that you can read about. But the biggest challenge when you really want to scale businesses and grow fast is the lack of a very good mental model that really helps you exercise the entrepreneurial muscle.
Okay, the entrepreneurial muscle and a mental model. Do you mean a mindset and the decision-making process, or what do you mean by a mental model?
That's exactly right. So a mental model is basically a mindset that you convert into new practices that basically help you accomplish your mission faster than you would do without being very conscious about the mindsets that are around your company that basically are coming out as behaviors and practices that people, the way they work, the way they engage with each other. And we help you become aware.
We normally say culture, right? I mean, you have the things you need to do, the product and the market and the financing and all that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, you have the mindset and the culture, and that's what you're talking about. The soft side of the business.
That's exactly right. So we help the executive team to treat the soft side as equally as important as the hard side.
Oh, that's a big challenge. That is a big challenge because I mean, how can you make that concrete? But before we get into how you do that, what is this whole thing about this growth mindset? Where does it come from?
So the growth mindset was coined by Professor Carol Dweck from Stanford University. And she did a lot of research amongst kids at school. And she basically looked into how come that some kids really do a lot of effort and work hard to get good grades and others don't.
Grit, the word grit. The Americans love the word grit. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And she found that kids that are taught and told that they are smart somehow are afraid to risk that position that they basically have, and kids who are not praised for their intelligence have by nature a tendency to really approve themselves without risking that they would downgrade their position or their acknowledgement about their environment.
Damn, so what I do is say my kids, oh, you do this great, you do that great. That's absolutely the wrong way to do it.
No, I think praising kids is really, really important, and you should keep doing that.
Yeah.
The thing is that you should not necessarily talk about the grades that they come, but you talk about the effort and the journey, and that seems to be a more stimulating effort than talking about, okay, what was your grade, because that is like a time stamp.
I am so guilty. So the outcome is not the real thing, it is how much did you put into it, and I think that would be more concrete. And you say that's the same, that educational lesson is also, of course, we know that in the startup business, which you have been extremely active in, and you say that has also a role in the corporate culture.
Well, you know, the startup world by nature is a fast culture industry, because the one thing that they don't have is time. You have a certain runway to accomplish the validations and the experiments that you have to run to come up with commercial truth.
Or you're dead.
Or you're dead.
Or you're dead, yeah. Now, I mean, I just went to Israel, 7,200 startups, 3% make it. And in the corporate world, actually it's true, but it takes way longer. You know, how many companies are successful. And you say that in the startup culture, where we have learned how to deal with that very short runway and very short time, you have made lessons which you can use in the corporate world?
Exactly. So we bring basically speed into accomplishing a mission on a corporate level. So a team has a certain mission, and the difference between accomplishing that mission faster than they would do without a very strong model is actually deadly because the world is changing much faster than it used to be in the past. So how do you adapt to those new changes? So speed is also becoming very important in a corporate environment.
I never have the feeling. I always have the feeling that in the corporate world it is the other department and the other silo and the other internal systems and the reporting system, and it's never the outside world which makes companies fail, but it's the inside world.
Correct. It's 100% the inside world, and that's exactly why a lot of these corporates disappear and are basically being replaced by very new, very young companies that are able to adapt to a very fast changing environment.
Okay, so that's the basic education startup going to the grown-up companies and the mindset. What now is it concrete? If you do a project and you want to put this growth mindset into a big company, what happens? How does that work?
Well, the biggest discovery is basically becoming aware of the fixed mindsets that hold you back to really unlock the potential that the team has, that creates this speed. When you say like we need
limiting beliefs, I hear that sometimes people say.
Correct.
Okay.
And just becoming aware of limiting beliefs is not enough.
Give me the top 3 limiting beliefs.
We don't call them limiting beliefs. We call them fixed mindsets.
Fixed mind. But give me the top 3 fixed mindsets.
I'll give you the number 1, which is mistakes are bad. But we all know without making mistakes you cannot grow, you cannot learn, and as a consequence you cannot grow.
Okay, that's number 1. Okay, mistakes. Yeah. What's number 2?
Transparency, like being very open and direct in whatever is going on within the company. The fast and quick way of communicating with each other and understanding each other's priorities, for example, is a very big problem that stagnates the company into fast growth.
Okay. To be keeping your own position, no matter what is true for the company, is that also something which holds us back?
I think team cohesion is one of the biggest outcomes of the Growth Mindset Accelerator. They get to know each other much better, and as a consequence, as they know each other, also they trust each other better. So there's a more open, psychologically safe environment when you get to know each other. And as a consequence, you're less focused on what your own career is, and think about like what is important for the company, what is important for this team, and how can I contribute to that success.
Yeah, I saw a movie of Campina, and they said they've learned how to trust the team more instead of fixing every problem themselves. That was one of the things which one of the executives basically stated. Is that also something as an outcome of this growth mindset
accelerator? Well, we have been working with many companies, and one of them is Friesland Campina, and we were very thankful to be able to work with so many leadership teams from Friesland Campina around the globe. And every management team has a different